Trojan family, what is happening? Welcome to USC LAFB Live. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud, back on a Thursday, noon Pacific time. Thrilled to be with you. Loving doing this midday. So thank you for taking time out of your day and tuning into the show. We're going to talk some injury updates, the little updates that we got. I was at practice Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll discuss those a little bit and what this kind of full roster hopefully looks like. And then going to talk some about all this trash talk from Michigan. A lot of chatter, if you will. And, some from Marone, the coach, and some from some of the other players. And then obviously the fan base. And I'm just got to say, I love it. I love it. I mean, 2 years now playing Michigan in a row. And I hope we play Michigan every year. I know the schedule's out for the next 4 years and we don't play them every year, but it's becoming a really fun matchup. I love the chatter. I think it's great for the fan bases, as long as it's clean and respectable. So I love it. I think it's fun. So we'll get into that. There are some things that I have issue with. I'll just say that. Some narratives surrounding not just USC, but Los Angeles. So we'll dive into that, have some fun, and then love to get your guys' opinions on kind of what you prefer, coaches to do. Kind of talk into the noise and have fun, or just business as usual, like kind of the USC approach has done with that. So quickly, let's pay the bills. Shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. That's the #1 sports app right now on the App Store or Google Play. Make sure to download the Sleeper app. When you do, go make your first deposit. Use our promo code USC LAFB. They're going to give you a match deposit bonus up to $100. If you don't want to put in $100, put in $10. They'll give you $10 free to play with. They got the daily fantasy, which is like a pick 'em. Just pick 2 to 8 players across any league. Got the Dodgers game, hopefully clinching tonight. Tough loss last night. Tough outing for Kershaw, but hey, I think they'll bounce back. You can pick more or less on some of those players, or if you just want to wait for the USC game for Saturday, pick more or less, Ram, NFL, anything you want. So go download the Sleeper app, promo code USC LAFB. And right now for new users, a fantastic bonus, $20 free entry, no deposit required. Just go sign up and you get $20 free to play with for any game, any sport, any player you want. So Sleeper app, promo code USC LAFB. Go ahead and tell them that LAFB Network sent you. All right. So getting everyone in here. Thank you everyone for joining and hanging out. Let me get this sent real quick. Beautiful. And then here we go. What's up? What's up, Phil? Ryan, what's up, my man? Love your podcast. Appreciate you. I appreciate everyone, man. All the support has been amazing. What's up, Johnny? Always commenting all the videos. Always appreciate you. Montreal Farmer, fight on, fight on. Trojan fight first. Yes, you were. You were commented before we were even live. Appreciate you. Fight on. So real quick, Phil. Yeah, this has been a lot going on. I won't talk on this more. We're moving on. But he says, I have intel from last game. A player's mom was saying that quite a few players, including her son, who is a prominent player on the team, were hit hard with food poisoning. Coach Lynn also. Yeah, this is what I've heard. I think this was a very real thing. Coach Riley downplayed it, which I think he should. If he didn't, the swarms would be coming out about him making excuses. So I think it's smart that he just, nope, that wasn't the reason. Moving on. But based on what I heard, it was a very real thing. And I think we saw it on the field with how poorly the defensive line played. I think I did a report on this right after the game, and there were some Illinois fans, and I didn't mean this if it came out this way, but I think assumed that all of us with SC were kind of like making it out that Illinois poisoned them, like the team had something to do with it. I think it was just bad luck. I don't think there was any foul play, pun intended, since it was chicken. So we heard. I don't think it was any of that. I think it was just bad luck, but sometimes bad luck happens and it actually affects you. So I think it was very real. We'll see if it was real based on how the team plays this Saturday against Michigan. If the defensive line comes up and knocks that offensive line around a little bit, linebackers look quicker to their gaps, more gaps down, whatever it may be, then we can kind of say, hey, rough Illinois game, whatever the cause, but that's not who this team is. And that's what we want to see. That's what you want to see when you lose too, right? You got to see like, okay, how does this team respond? I've been saying it for 2 weeks now. Loss sucked. USC shouldn't lose to a team like Illinois. I think they're a very good football team, much better than a lot of people gave them credit for. But that doesn't define the season unless you let it define the season. So how does USC bounce back in front of a raucous home crowd here on Saturday against a really good Michigan team? That will be the question that needs to be answered. And if it's answered with a resounding, hey, we're better than we were 2 weeks ago, then hey, things are back on track. Things are back on track. So, yeah, I was in the scrum yesterday. If you saw this, EG said it all for me in his interview. Good old Gentry. Yeah, he doesn't hide much, which, he's an interesting interview, but he's a good kid and he just cares so much about this team. But he made it pretty clear that he wasn't even right. Like there was, didn't flat out say it, but, it is what it is. Let's move on past that. So, all right, injury updates quickly here, which we don't get much. Like I said, I was at practice Tuesday and last night. I didn't get home last night till 8 p.m., so I was not able to join the call-in show with Tim and Jamal. Hopefully you guys saw it. If not, watch the replay. We had Trevor McHugh, who is the publisher for On Threes, the Wolverine. He was on the show all night talking just talking the matchup, and obviously gives a lot of good Michigan insight that we don't know. So if you haven't, check that out for sure as the replay or whatever it is. You can find it right here on the USC LAFB YouTube channel or on LAFBnetwork.com. But so Elijah Paige obviously is the big name, right? That's the one we care most about. Not most. I mean, I don't mean that, but the one that's probably most important and pertinent to come back for this game. And I based on what Riley said, and we've said this a bunch now, he's going to wait till he's not going to give us much. He's going to wait till, the mandated injury report comes out 2 hours before the game. So a lot of it's just speculation, but, Paige has been practicing, has been in full pads. He said he's progressing well. And basically, I'm paraphrasing, basically can't guarantee that he'll be a go Saturday, but he's progressing well. I believe he will play. I said that on the Tuesday live show. I think based on where he was last week heading the game, and it was 2 weeks ago, and then having the full bye, obviously the gravity of this game, I think this is maybe one of the most important games in the Lincoln Riley era to see what kind of progress has really happened. I feel like unless he had a setback, he will be a go. And the hard thing with his injury, and this isn't his fault, but due to kind of how USC is constructed their offensive line in terms of versatility, and I think that's a strength of theirs, but because it's not just a plug and play where it's like, okay, Paige is out, this guy's in at left tackle, because there's so much movement, like you don't want to have him go play 2 series, not be right, and then have to shuffle everything, right? Because what they've done, for those I'm sure you all know, but Justin Tanau moves from right tackle to left tackle. Tobias Raymond moves from left guard to right tackle, and Micah Benuelos comes in at left guard. So it's not like it's just, Elijah Vicona coming in at left tackle instead, and everyone else stays the same. So it's a big shift, and that in game can cause issues. Now, good teams with good coaching, which I believe Coach Hansen's proved that he's a phenomenal offensive line coach, you get that sorted and fixed. But if he's like even not close to right, it might still be better to keep him out just so you keep that continuity across the 5 all game long. Because remember, new center starting now is Jean-Ray Reed. So that's already a change there. So, just a little risky there if he's not fully right. If you try to have him go play a few series and then have to switch things around. I'm not saying that's going to be a huge cause for a loss or anything, but it's something to monitor, something to watch, right? So that's the big one. I think he will go, like I said, but we'll see. And we have Coach Riley tomorrow on our Zoom conference call. So I doubt we'll get anything else from him, but we'll see. I'm sure someone will press on it, and we'll probably get you'll know 2 hours before the game like everyone else. So Jacoby Lane, all indications are he'll be a go unless he had a setback. He did obviously play a few snaps and had a couple catches in that Illinois game. So I think he'll be a go, which is a huge get back. Obviously, one of the most talented receivers in the country. Mekhi Lemon obviously went off, but it still helps to have one of your top guys back for Jaden Maiava to throw to. So I believe he'll be a go. I've seen a bunch of comments in the previous about Brian Jackson, running back. Like, he's one that I really did not think his injury was as serious. Haven't heard any updates, so I'm not going to speculate, but haven't heard any updates, and I haven't seen at practice or whatnot. So yeah, I don't know for sure when he will be back, or if they're going to lean towards a medical redshirt. We'll see, but no updates for him there. Defensively, Alex Graham obviously is the big name everyone's wondering about. Based on Riley's comments, I'd lean that he is not going to go in this one. Basically said he's ahead of schedule. We're working as fast as we can to get him ready and up to speed. But he left it at that. To me, reading between the lines, that feels like he's still a week or so away. And again, I think this kid's going to be really good. I think he's going to be really good. But everyone needs to pump the brakes a little bit. This is a true freshman that's never played a down of college football. Tough to just throw him in the fire as the starting nickel against Michigan. And you kind of need to ease him into it. So the coaching staff is going to ease him into it. Obviously, you need him fully healthy based on the injury, but then also just, get some reps, low pressure reps potentially. And again, I've said this all along. The goal is to get Kamari Ramsey back to safety, away from nickel. But we saw last week the drop off from when he's not in the nickel. So as a coaching staff, as a fan base, whoever, you really have to answer the question, like, how big of a drop off is it if he's not at nickel? Because Christian Pierce and Bishop Fitzgerald are really good safeties. I mean, Christian Pierce has played really well. He's not the reason why the secondary has had struggles. So it's better, in my opinion, to have those three on the field with Ramsey at nickel than take Bishop Fitzgerald off to throw in a true freshman that's never played it down that's coming off of injury. Alex Graham is going to be that guy. He's going to be that dude. I'd rather see it come against Northwestern or Nebraska. Nebraska comes, they get another, remember, they have a bye after they get Michigan, Notre Dame, and another bye. So we'll see. That's just what I feel. D. Riddick got some more play during the bye. We talked to Danton Lynn yesterday. Got some more reps at nickel throughout practice. So, I think he's just catching up to speed. True freshman, didn't enroll till the late spring, so missed all of spring, or summer, I should say. And they threw him in the fire last week, and he had a couple good reps. I think he's a super talented kid too. So we'll see what that looks like. I think that is any questions on injuries, guys, drop it in the comments. But I think that's all the real injury updates that I can think of off the top of my head. Kicker position, Caden Chittenden, I think there's been questions on when he will. I mean, Ryan Sinceri has played so well that, there's no rush at all. And even if he is healthy, I don't know if he's getting that job. Because Ryan's played so well at the kicker position and been pretty dynamic there. So, that looks good. Looks good from that perspective, I should say. I think that's it on injuries. Trojan Fight, any reason we haven't seen Prince Strawn? He hasn't played last 2 games despite not being listed on the injury report. Yeah, I think that's a good question. And maybe one I'll try to get in with Coach Riley tomorrow on the Zoom. He is perceivably healthy. So whether it's personnel packages or what, obviously they just leaned heavy into Mekhi Lemon. But he had some good reps there early in the season. Obviously, it was against lesser competition when the Trojans were up big. But he had a really good fall camp, and this is a deep, talented receiver room, but we really haven't seen much outside of Mekhi Lemon, Tanick Hines, and Jacoby Lane. And so there's the thought of like, hey, how do you get more guys involved? There's also the thought that, hey, those 3 are really good. Why not just put all your stock into that? Plus, they're using the tight ends so much more than they have in the years past. When you see the target share that Lake McCree and Walker Lyons, I think they had 4 or 5 catches each. So 9 to 10 catches between the 2 tight ends I keep saying last week, but last game. So I would say it's more into that, leaning into their star. The big criticism last year was how heavy the wide receiver rotation was. And Riley even talked about after the year, like, hey, they want to fix that and they don't need to be rotating 5, 6, 7 guys all game. Like, you want to get lather on your top guys. So interesting because Lane has been limited and out. That there hasn't been a little more shine, but I think it's more on that like, hey, this is our group. Like these three receivers, the two tight ends, with obviously Jaden Richardson and Jay Fair and stuff getting some reps here and there. So, but it is interesting about Prince Strong because I do think he provides a different skill set and maybe not on the injury report, but maybe just doesn't feel fully comfortable yet. I mean, it was a leg injury. So maybe having that. Yeah. So good question. If I get any insight, if I'm able to ask Riley tomorrow, because I that is something that is curious to me. Like, do you want more receivers involved, or is there a real kind of philosophical thinking that like, no, we want to lean into like these 5 guys, unlike last year where we tried to just rotate so much and then it was like trying to spread too much. So yeah, I'd be curious. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the chatter, but first, real quick, one more sponsor to you guys, then we're done with the sponsors. But have you guys, I'm sure you've heard of TickPick, the ticketing agency. If you don't have tickets yet for Saturday's game, which is a perfect like leaning into the segment because of what all of Michigan is talking about, our fan base and selling out the Call-In and whatnot. If you're still looking for tickets to go, TickPick is the place. If you haven't heard of it, it works just like, StubHub, all those third parties, but there's no fees. So I use it. I'm not just saying this because this is an ad read. I actually use it for all of my ticket purchases because there's no fees. What you see is what you pay. There's nothing worse than going to StubHub and then all of a sudden you're additional $23, right? So, app looks like this, just like any other ticketing agency. You go to your USC here, go find the game. On here, you got, the stadium lists all the different ticket prices. You can go best deals, which basically combines the price and the seat value, or you can just go to cheapest. Right now, cheapest tickets on here, $162 all in. It's a big game, but $162, no fees. That's what you're paying straight up, $162 per ticket. So I have a code for you guys. So you should use it even more because you're going to get a discount. You can use the code HMA for $20 off your first set of tickets at TickPick with a purchase of more than $100. So like I just told you, that ticket price is $162. You're getting 20 off it. So $142 on that ticket right there. Really easy. You can see it on the screen how to operate it. Again, that's $20 off any ticket with promo code HMA. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app. I'll have that below after the show and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, TickPick. Or you just follow that video on the screen and, just input that code yourself. So once again, here's how to do that. Really simple. You guys are all smart. Most of you probably USC grads, geniuses, right? Easy to figure out. So TickPick's great. Like I said, I use it for everything. Use it for this game today or Saturday. Take care. Or maybe you want to go to the Dodgers game today. Go check that out. All right. So a lot of chatter, right? And this is why I'm loving this. I think this is a fun, becoming a fun rivalry, even though it's so new. Like, obviously have only played each other in the Rose Bowl up until this point, really, for the most part, a few random matchups here and there, right? Or, a lot more matchups back in history. There's some good history between these programs, but Coach Marome, all of you have seen it by now, said essentially games only sold out. Like, we're not going to be wowed by the Coliseum. Games only sold out because they're playing Michigan. We asked Coach Riley about it on Tuesday, and his response was verbatim, I really don't care what he says. We're excited to play the game. I'm curious what you guys think. Like, do you enjoy more? Like, in that situation, I don't think it's ever good to be the instigator. Why put out bulletin board material for no reason, right? Remember 2 years ago, Coach Prime in Colorado, and there was all this bulletin board, and Oregon, that scene of Dan Lanning and, we don't play for clicks, blah, 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 blah. And then they go out and just absolutely door stomp Colorado. And we know Colorado really hasn't been that good of a team since. I don't think there's any reason to be the instigator. But I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are in a response. For fun, would you want to see more of a, playful response, or do you like just the buttoned up business? I could care less. We're focused on the game. Because I think there's two sides to it. Unfortunately, for Lincoln Riley, anything he says is going to get picked apart. Like he could say nothing and somehow people will find a way to pick it apart, say he's complaining about something. He could respond with one word and people are going to somehow pick it apart. Even his own fans and media people on radio people on this side. So he's kind of in a lose-lose. But he said about as much as you could say to negate most of that. So I think there's a value, and the whole team has done this, right? Like we've talked to players now, all of them. Michigan's a good program, super well coached, a lot of talent. We're excited, we're preparing. Like no one has said any form of any bulletin board material at all. And then there's the other side where you just kind of free flow it, chat, clap back, kind of play into this whole new social media age, yada, yada, yada. Here's what you guys think. I personally kind of lean more on the, hey, let's just business as usual. We're preparing. We're excited to play. Respect the program. We're focused on our game. I prefer that. I just don't think it's worth the bulletin, because especially then if you lose, I'm not saying this doesn't even pertain to USC Michigan, but if you're a team that's a lot of chatter and then you lose, if you back it up, great. And if you're that team that gets to be that cocky, which I don't think Michigan can be right now. I don't think Michigan's proven anything since obviously they won the Natty 2 years ago, but in this Marone era, I don't think they've proven. Didn't they have the same record as USC last year? I know they won in the Big House. So I don't know. But aside from that, there's always this narrative right now around the USC football team, but there's always been this narrative kind of about LA and West Coast of being soft, right? We see it all the time. I think that's one of the most overused descriptive words in all of sports. Soft. I think we know what soft is, but I think it's the most, you lose, you're soft. Now, there are absolutely very definable instances of soft teams and soft people and soft cultures and blah, 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 blah. Go down the line. This team, I'll start with that. I don't think we know yet what this team is. In terms of what I would define as soft in terms of football, getting pushed around, getting blown off the ball, getting beat to gaps, not sound tackling. USC was soft against Illinois. There's no way to deny that. Whatever reason for it, they got punched in the mouth. Offensively, I don't think they've been soft at all this season. You don't put up nearly 600 yards against Michigan State, 500 yards against Illinois, 30-plus points. You're not a soft offense. But defensively last week, they were soft. Now, like I've said, and I'll just keep beating a dead horse, let's see how they respond. If they respond and go toe-to-toe in the trenches, the backers, all this against Michigan, well, let's throw that narrative out. So I get it. I just think it's a very overused narrative. And a lot of that narrative stems because of LA, West Coast, California, the beach. For whatever reason, a lot of folks, Midwest, East Coast, wherever, I think that because it doesn't snow here, we're all soft. Just because it doesn't snow. I think there's this perception that every 16 million people in Los Angeles live by the beach or in the Hollywood Hills, all, work desk jobs, just, day drink on Sundays every day. There is certainly a place for that in LA. And, that's what makes LA a lot of fun, is the sunshine, the beach, the celebrities, the events, the entertainment. But that's not all LA is. I mean, there's 16 million people here. Go talk to the longshoresmen in San Pedro and Long Beach. Go talk to the textile workers, the construction workers. I lived for a decade in Long Beach, 7th and Cherry. Come down to 7th and Cherry in Long Beach. Let's see if that's a soft area, soft community. My mother-in-law, my wife's mom, they built their family hand sewing clothes and selling at the swap meet. There's a lot of people in LA that do that. That's not soft. Sewing your own clothes till 3 a.m., waking up at 6 to get the kids to school, 5 kids, then going to the swap meet for 12 hours to make a living. There's a lot of people in LA that have stories like that. Not everyone in LA is living a Hollywood lifestyle. But that seems to always be kind of that narrative around our community. Now, there's a very easy way to diffuse that and debunk that. It's to go kick the snot out of a football team, right? If we're talking back to football. And that's what made, I always say, I don't love comparing it to, because college football is so different. But that's what made the Pete Carroll era so special, is not only did they have Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, these great kind of Hollywood, Reggie Bush, those were like Hollywood figures, right? But then they had the Brian Cushings, the Ray Malugas, the Frosty Ruckers, the guys who were just going to beat you up. So they were glitz and glam and bring your lunch pail to work, all combined into one. So what can this USC team now do after a rough loss where they got pushed around to prove that narrative is not real, not about them? Have the glitz and glam of Maeva and Lemon and Wayman Jordan and Jacoby Lane, the glitz, the glam, the skill set, and then have the lunch pail punch you in the mouth of Eric Gentry, of Kamari Ramsey, of Bishop Fitzgerald, Christian Pierce. Put him in the box. Dude can hit. Jade Abasari, Anthony Lucas, Cam Crawford, all these guys. Prove that you are the lunch pail to the Maevas glitz and glam. Easy way to do it. And that's what makes this town great. And I think that's what makes USC a special place to play. You get kind of both worlds, both options. So I want to see it come to fruition. And I think it can. So lot to see. Let's see how this defense responds. What's so interesting about this defense, and then I see some good conversations in the chat. So I'll see if there's any questions, drop those in here. I haven't gone through these. All you guys talking, love it, appreciate it. But I'll go see if there's any questions, drop those in. But when you look at this defense, and it has not lived up to what we all thought, right? Clearly. And there's been a lot of questions, I think, about the coaching staff, understandably. I think there's been in my opinion, a lot of unfair judgment on this coaching staff just because of how early it is. But the main reason is because of how young this defense is. And, people will call that an excuse. That's fine. Call it an excuse. I'm not a coach, so I can say whatever I want, right? When you look at this unit of 11, you have 5 starters who are upperclassmen. Essentially, obviously they do a heavy rotation, but when you look at the starters, at least last game, 5 starters that are upperclassmen. You got Keyshawn Silver, transfer, defensive line. You got Anthony Lucas. You got DeCarlos Nicholson, Kamari Ramsey, and Bishop Fitzgerald. 2 of which are transfers, 3 of which returning. All were transfers at some point. But so 5. So 6 of your starting 11 have either never played until this season or have very limited snaps. And they're either sophomores, redshirt freshmen, or true freshmen. So I say all that yes, there are freshmen out there and first-time starters that come in and hit the ground running and make an impact. And that's what you want to see. That's what you hope to see. But there's also some guys that take some time to develop and unfortunately may have not been ready to be thrown into the fire this early on. Like, look, think about what this defense would be if you still had, Jacoby Covington, Greedy Williams, Akili Smith, Mascarenas Arnold, Mason Cobb. I think when you look at who is on the USC Trojans defense right now, the talent and the ceiling, I don't mean this any disrespect to those other guys. I think the talent and the ceiling is much higher. But all those other guys I just listed played a lot of football. While Easton Mascarenas Arnold and Mason Cobb were limited physically, had a limited skill set, they had 4 years of playing experience. Like, they were pretty gap sound. They just had a ton of football experience. Now you have Eric Gentry and all non-starters. Desmond Stevens played a couple games last year. Jaden Walker didn't play at all. Jameer Robinson played very sparingly at Penn State before transferring. Like, there's going to be growing pains. I think we all hoped that there wouldn't be. We all talked, myself included, that there wouldn't be. That, hey, these guys are super talented. It's just going to be better. So let's see how this coaching staff develops these young guys in season and see how the improvements stack up. Right? Let's see that. Hopefully it's quicker, but let's see that. Phil, question. Are there improvements anticipated at corner over the next 2 games? And if so, what are they? Yeah, I mean, of course you anticipate there to be improvements. 100%. I think when you look at DeCarlos Nicholson, Marcellus Williams, and Braylon Conley, I think those are kind of your 3 head guys right now. You expect to be a little bit more comfortable within the scheme now, especially on the bye week. There should be no more miscues, which, looking at the Illinois game, there wasn't many miscues. It was just, getting beat. So hopefully these guys can play fast, less thought, and, just play to their skill set, play to their ability. But having Kamari Ramsey back is going to be a huge thing as well. I don't think that's an understated how important he is, this defensive back end, whether he's at nickel or at safety. He is, you could argue, the most important player on the defense. So losing him pre-game was massive. So that alone is going to improve. That alone, you're going to see improvements for sure, just by having him out there. But from those other guys I listed, yeah, definitely anticipate some improvements. We'll see if they change the scheme at all, any different zone coverages, if they go more man-to-man. Like, we'll see what Dan Lynn does if needed. But I anticipate for sure there's going to be improvements. Let me wet the old throat here. So, but I'm excited. So this is, when you look at this matchup, it's kind of differing philosophies, if you will, and good on bad for both teams. Like, we say a lot of, like, there's a lot of matches like, okay, it's best on best. Like, this team is good at this, and this offense is good at this defense is good at this, best on best. This is kind of the opposite. Like, Michigan does not have a very good pass defense. Right? Right now, USC is 3rd rated passing offense, and Michigan has the 59th ranked passing defense. It's not terrible, but I wouldn't say that's their strong suit. Their strong suit is run defense. When you look at that Michigan game, or the Wisconsin game, Michigan-Wisconsin game, Wisconsin opening drive drove right down the field. I think they ran 8. It was like an 11-play drive, 9 running plays into the teeth of that Michigan defense, and they dominated. Scored a touchdown. When the game was over, Wisconsin had 75 yards of total rushing offense. Like, Michigan clamped down after that first drive and imposed their will against the Wisconsin running game. Now, USC has a much better running game than Wisconsin. And so I know a lot of people out there saying, run the rock, run the rock, run the rock. USC will run, but it's actually better for them to throw the ball, to air it out to Mekhi Lem and Jacoby Lane. And so I think we'll see a heavier passing game from Lincoln Riley and Jaden Mayava, with obviously running game, keeping the defense on to sprinkle in. Now, if Wayman Jordan gets going early and they look good, obviously you're going to stick with that. But just based on the skill sets of each side, this actually bodes well to be a big passing game for USC. Now, defensively, we've talked about it a bunch. Obviously, Michigan is going to want to run the football. They've got a very talented running back. And USC obviously has questions in the running game. What's interesting is before Illinois, the running defense was much better. I wouldn't call it great. There was still work to do, but it was better before the Illinois game. So we'll see if they can get back to that. And I said on Tuesday, force Bryce Underwood to throw you or beat you. You know, potential with Michigan, when you look at their receivers, they don't have like a standout guy. They got some talent, but they're potentially going to be starting 2 freshmen. Andrew Marsh, obviously very talented kid. But now there's kind of rumors or intel that Jamar Browder may be getting heavy looks in practice, and he's a true freshman. So potentially 2 freshman receivers. So huge opportunity for this secondary to have their bounce back game, going up against a lot of inexperience when you consider 2 freshman receivers and a freshman quarterback at home. So Michigan is absolutely going to try to pound the rock, and USC, I expect to really air it out. Now, I do agree with you, Trojan Fight. I don't want to see 50 pass attempts. Because, if you're throwing it 50 times, that means you're not being very efficient. So I'd love to see Mayava with 350 plus yards on like 32 attempts. That means you're being efficient. You've had some explosives. We're going to see those screen passes. I always say all the time, those are like running plays to me. High efficiency, kind of guaranteed yardage. And we've seen USC had a lot of success with them. So I think they're going to lean on the pass. But if you're passing it 50 times again, that means you're not being efficient. That means it's not like working well. You're having a lot of incompletions, whatever it may be. But this is a type of game that, because of Michigan's style, and they'll obviously throw a lot more than last year. I mean, 12 pass attempts from Orgy last year. They're going to have a lot. They're going to have double that, especially if USC can get off to an early lead. But this is a game regardless. Michigan's going to try to control the tempo, try to control the clock, which is going to create less possessions across the game. Like, it wouldn't surprise you if this game has like 8 or fewer possessions for each team. We could see at halftime, like USC had the ball 3 times, which we've seen in games before. That's this Big Ten style of play. So I think USC's offensive line, even without Paige, can match up well to keep Jaden Mayava clean, because while Michigan still has a very good defensive front, let's not forget that, but they did lose like 2 all-world players. I mean, Mason Graham was a game wrecker, drafted 4th overall. So there is going to be a slight drop-off, and USC's offensive line is much better than it was last year. And you're at home. So they're going to lean on the pass, try to be efficient, use the run game to keep Michigan offense, and then defensively, control the line of scrimmage. Let's see how pissed off this defense was for that performance last week. They can certainly control it. They have enough talent, skill, size to control the line of scrimmage. I have no doubt in my mind. If Jakeem Stewart, as a true freshman, can control the line of scrimmage, that entire defensive line camp. I love Jade Abrisari. I don't think he gets enough credit. Love their entire front, right? And they got some good talent there. I think all the superlatives we've said in the offseason are still true. It's had a really bad week against Illinois. And so all the narratives shifted or regressed. Let's see the response. All right, before we wrap up here, let's see any good comments or questions here. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Like I said, every Tuesday and Thursday, I'll be here at noon. And then every Monday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. call-in show. So, plenty of live content to hang out. Let's see. You're just kind of scrolling through some of these. If you guys have any questions before we wrap up, drop those in here. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, just scrolling through. I think most of these are more conversation amongst yourself, which is great. Yeah, Jake, walk 3 blocks south of USC and tell me if that's the high life. I mean, I don't know if it's worth even giving this airtime, but obviously, if you guys are on, and again, I think people's perception on social media is very different than like in real life. I think we all know that, right? But on social, the perception is like, USC fans are diehard, can't sell out the Collie. If that's like what opposing fans want to like talk about, which, I live in LA and we hear it with every team, right? The Rams, the Chargers, we even get some for the Dodgers sometime, which is crazy. But, that's what LA, it's just a different city. I think 2 things can be true, right? Ann Arbor, Columbus, Happy Valley, Tuscaloosa, even say Eugene. I know it's annoying to say, but Eugene, I mean, those are great college towns. They are towns with amazing people that are essentially, I don't want to say run by, there's other jobs and stuff, but the focal point of the city is the university. For the most part. Not every single one, but a vast majority of these great college towns, the university is kind of the centerpiece. There is a ton of love, passion around USC and USC football specifically. But the city of LA it's not like run by USC. It's not like the centerpiece of a metropolitan city of 16 million plus people. So, when you have a game on a Saturday that there's also a Dodgers playoff game, there's also a Lakers or a Kings game, there's also a Clippers game, there's also 15 to 20 concerts within a 10-mile radius. It's just kind of a different culture and subset. I don't think one is right, one is wrong. But hey, it makes for fun conversation, makes for fun back and forth. And it makes me really hope that USC Michigan becomes a true Big Ten rivalry. I think it already kind of is. So, okay, let's see here. I hope Riley has good clock management this game. I think he's been good this year, personally, Jake. I do. I talked about it a bunch after Illinois. I think that into the game, I was fine with it. I know a lot of people weren't because of the result, but those type of things, no one cares. And it's just all result dependent. We see it across all the other games. Coaches do the same thing. You score when you can. They still burned 5.5 minutes off the clock on that drive. Fight on Natties. If Jaden goes for 350 or more and we win, media talking heads are going to make excuses for Michigan's defense. But if you lose, USC is soft. Yeah, that's just why I don't like the narrative, right? I just think it's an overused word. There are instances where it should be used and where it is true, but I just think it's so overused now. So, do you have a prediction? So as of I looked last, USC was a 2-point favorite, I believe. That line has shifted a couple times, been at 1.5, 2.5. I think it's settled at 2. I like USC to bounce back. I think it's going to be a fantastic football game. 2 historic programs. I think USC's offense will be giving them the ball, and I think USC's defense will have improved enough to slow down Michigan. So I'm going to go, I think USC crosses the 30-point threshold again, and they're able to hold Michigan in the 20s. So I'll go 31-24. A nice 7-point victory for USC, but it's going to be a great game. David Chapman, I haven't seen any UM smack talk. You are grasping at straws. Well, just maybe you're not on social. Like I said, I think social media and real life conversations are different. You know, check out the message boards. You can go on Twitter. It's there. It's nothing bad. I'm not saying it a bad way. It's great. I love it. All right. Well, unless anyone has anything else, I think we'll wrap it as that. Another great show, USC LAFB Live. You guys are all the best. Let's keep this thing growing. If you have not already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us out a lot. Rocking our Hate Us Because You Ain't Us shirt. You can pick that up if you want to help support. It's right down below this video. I think we have it. I think I have it linked right there, or you can just go to lafbnetwork.com and go to the shop in the menu. So help us. We got some other USC gear there, USC merch. Certainly helps us out. Become a member of the channel or on lafbnetwork.com. Join our community there. We're trying to grow our forum. It's brand new. So go to lafbnetwork.com. We'll be posting exclusive stuff, insider stuff within that forum. So just like the other message boards, I'm sure you guys are all a part of, come check that out. So, just really trying to build our community here at LAFB. As obviously a USC community, but hey, all LA sports, cover the entire gamut of LA. I'll actually be on Fox later today talking Rams. We're doing a live Rams show, not on this channel, but on our Rams LAFB channel at 4 p.m. if any Rams fans are in. So, come check out all of our LAFB content. And Phil, pick it up right below. Promo code LAFB gets you 25% off. So go grab one. Promo code LAFB, 25% off. Mike Anderson, go blue, behind enemy lines. I love when we get opposing fans in here. So, and he says, Michigan has a QB and a better running game this year. Certainly, I think I'd probably agree to both. It's a much better offense than it was last year. I think it's a lesser defense than it was last year. Still very good. But I wouldn't say that their passing game is electric yet. I think Bryce Underwood has a very bright future. And he had 104 yards passing against Nebraska. Now he did look improved last week, but Wisconsin's a much lesser team. So, we'll see. He's a true freshman. He's going to have growing pains. I think he has a bright future. Dan Lynn, Lincoln Riley, they all talked about how, he's going to be a special, special player. But I don't think they're exactly I don't think they're USC in passing game yet. Obviously, USC is one of the best passing teams in the country. Defense not as good, but it's definitely not bad. Like I said earlier, they're 59th against the pass. That's, middle of the pack. Not bad, not great. So if USC can expose that, that's going to be their game plan. All right. Well, you guys rock. You're the best. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me here. Again, Tuesdays, Thursdays at noon. I will be here Monday, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific time, call-in show, plus a bunch of other videos going up throughout the rest of the week. See you all. Or I probably actually have another video out yesterday. Like I said, Lincoln Riley's press conference is tomorrow morning. So whatever I gather from there, I will certainly maybe jump back on and give an update. But after that, see you all at the Call-In on Saturday. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a great game. Beautiful weather, beautiful pageantry, beautiful programs. Cannot wait to share it all with you. So everyone have a blessed rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to you all throughout the week.